You have to love your kids all the same, but you don't have to like them the same.
Absolutely. I love you, kid, but I don't like you. No.
I love all my kids the same, but it doesn't necessarily mean I like them the same.
You wouldn't believe the arguments that happen within a family. You have solidified it. There's no questions asked. When you have named it in a trust or you've changed it ahead of time, nobody can say anything about it because that is your decision that you want to have happen. The worst fights we're going to see is when there's no will and no trust and the money is just out there. And you're going to have some of the worst wars. Your kids will lose relationship.
Today's episode is brought to you by Security Financial Management.
Welcome back. Rob Lovaglio here, your host, and I'm here with founder of Security Financial Management and Dave Allen. Dave, what's cracking, man?
Everything, Rob.
It's nice to have you back. It's nice to have you in here, man.
Yes, you get one of the old guys.
It's time to get the gray hair in here, man.
Behind the camera, yeah.
Yeah. We have an interesting topic.
Easy with the gray hair.
I got some too, man. We have an interesting topic today. It's kind of different than the usual investment strategy. It's kind of a little outside, stay in the same realm, right? It's more about, inheritance, legacy, estate.
Yeah. This is going to be a common question that we get from many of our clients that most people think, okay, let's say, give me an example. I've got 3 children. One's an idiot. The other one is already loaded. And the other one, I really want to have my home.
Needs a little extra help.
Yeah. Well, maybe not a little extra help. Maybe that's the one that's always helping me, because we'll see commonly where one kid is maybe close by, has sacrificed a whole lot of their life to be there when mom or dad is needed. Maybe they are the one that's visiting them or taking them to their doctor's visits. And they say, you know what, I want to make sure, and my daughter has always wanted this house. I want to make sure.
Be emotional too, and emotional.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
And I want to make sure it gets to him or her in the most tax efficient strategy to do that. So a lot of people just think, some of the strategies might be is that I have a will and it says in my will that my kid is going to get this house. Well, that's a good way to do it. But what happens there is it's going to go through the probate process. Maybe, and it could be, maybe it's your second home. Your primary residence in Florida will avoid probate, but there is still, some strings attached in getting it there. So the will is an easy way to do it. The worst way is to have no will and just hope that then there's no guarantee that it's going to get to any one of your kids. It will just go to your estate and then be split among it all. So there's no guarantee that one kid's going to get it.
Is that what do you see the most? Is the most people have set off like a will? Is that usually?
Well, unfortunately, most people that are out there don't even have a will.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. But the simplest way is somebody has a will.
Okay.
That one might do is they say, I've got my will, but I want to distinguish my house outside of the will. You can do what's called a Ladybird deed. Ladybird deed. Yeah. And basically what you do is during your lifetime, you own the house. Let's say I'm doing a Ladybird deed with one of my kids. Then I own the house. I can refinance it. I can do anything I want. I can sell it. But if I die, it's identified which person it's going to go to.
Singular.
Wow. Or I could do multiple.
Okay.
I can do multiple, but it guarantees
gives you the ownership until death, right?
Right.
And
control of it.
Yeah.
And then there's no probate, and it becomes immediately the home of the next person in line. One of the biggest problems that we see, we'll have a person that says, you know what, I want to give my home to my kid today. Mm-hmm. Well, let's say you've owned that home for 50 years, and we all know what real estate has done over the last 50 years. Let's say you bought a house for $100,000 50 years ago, which was was expensive, and it's probably worth $800,000, $900,000 a day. So if you sold that or gifted it to a kid, guess what happens to your kid? Now they have a cost basis when they sell it of $100,000. And let's say they sell it for $1 million later on down the road, they're going to pay taxes on $900,000 a gain. But if they hold that house and inherit it at death, and let's say that at death the value is worth $800,000, they don't pay the basis of your original. It's their basis starts at 800,000. So if they were, yeah, it's called a step up in basis, they call it. So if somebody now, let's say you inherit this house and it's worth 800,000, and they decide they don't want to have that house and they want to sell it. So they can sell the house if they decide to sell it for 800,000. There is no federal income tax to them because 800,000.
Awesome.
That's the best way to inherit it.
So like, I guess why wouldn't you do that? Uneducated? Like, I guess it's like,
yeah, you don't know.
Short-term thinking, right?
Yeah, short-term thinking. Yeah, I'm just going to gift it to my kid. Well, okay, kids got it now, or the adult kid has it, and maybe that's what they want to have. You can also sell it to the kid, but when you sell it to the kid, guess what's going to happen? You're going to pay federal income taxes on what the difference of what, let's say you bought the house for 100,000 and maybe it's worth 800, and you say, I'm going to be really good to my kid. I'm going to sell it to him for $500,000. Mama now, who sold the house that she bought for 100 for 500, is going to pay federal income taxes on $400,000 because that's the gain. Yeah. So now they're creating a big tax bill for themselves. The best way is let them inherit it. And they can inherit it either through the Ladybird deed, they can inherit it through a revocable trust. And they'll also, if they're named in that revocable trust to receive that house, they'll inherit the house correctly with a step up in basis with no federal income taxes. You can also do it if you get a larger estate, there's certain types of irrevocable trusts that one can use for purposes of planning. A lot of times that's for multiple properties. You might have some commercial real estate. The second way is a really good way is to have a good revocable living trust. And a revocable living trust is a great way to identify in your trust what assets I want to go to particular people. So you might say that let's say I've got $5 million and part of that $5 million is my home. Okay. But I want that home to be separated from the rest of it. Let's say my home's worth $1 million. I want the $4 million to be split among these people, but I want that $1 million home to be for this one person. And you can identify that in a trust.
Interesting. So it's like you have to love your kids all the same, but you don't have to like them the same.
Yeah. I love you, kid, but I don't like you. No.
I love all my kids the same, but it doesn't necessarily mean I like them the same.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. And you know what? Probably the hardest thing is that we deal with is when a parent has done that and they've set their estate plan up and they've given one kid or one person more than the other. You wouldn't believe the arguments that happen within a family. But guess what? You have solidified it and there's no questions asked. When you have named it in a trust or you've changed it ahead of time, nobody can say anything about it because that is your decision that you want to have happen.
See a lot of fights.
Yeah, the worst fights we're going to see is when there's no will and no trust and the money is just out there, and you're going to have some of the worst wars, and you're also going to meet many times your kids will lose relationships, and spouses get involved and kids get involved. So best way is to do planning. So let's get to this first way. First way is to do nothing. Well, a lot of problems happen there. Probate, and that can be expensive to an estate. And then also it doesn't determine which kid gets the money.
The most common thing you see is nothing, right?
Nothing.
Which is bad.
Which is
bad.
It could be, if you got a tiny little estate, it doesn't really matter. That's one thing. But if you got a bigger estate, even a reasonable size estate, you want to at least have a will. Okay. And in that will, you can define who gets what, but it's not at the least expense because certain assets can go through the probate process. One thing I didn't mention before, Rob, is joint ownership. Here's a real common strategy that parents will do with their adult children is maybe they own the house themselves and they say, you know what, I want to make sure Susie gets the house. So I'm going to put Susie on the deed with me as a joint owner. Well, that will make sure when mama dies that Susie's going to get the house. But here's the problem. It's going to avoid probate. You'll see on the chart, it'll avoid probate. You've given up partial control of the house because somebody else is now co-owner with you. So you don't have full control. You've avoided full step up of the cost basis. So let's say you bought that house for 100,000 and it's now worth 800. Well, when you've put your kid on as half owner, you've given up half of the step up in the basis. They've gotten half of it, but your portion,
So you go 50% up.
50% up.
Interesting.
So that people don't think about that.
Yeah.
And then same thing when they put somebody on a joint account with their investments. If it's a highly appreciated and they add somebody as a joint account, well, you've basically gifted half of your money to the estate, which makes to your person, a family member. It's a huge difference. Well, an irrevocable trust is the word irrevocable. You're doing it and it's permanent. If you've moved your money into any asset into an irrevocable trust, it is done and final. You can't change it. When you have a revocable trust, it's revocable means I can revoke it. I can change it anytime I want to. And
that's scary. I don't know what's not one.
Well, if you got a bunch of money and you got a bunch of things and you're just trying to get something out of your estate for estate tax purposes, many times the irrevocable trust is a very good strategy, but not for average America. Average America probably should not do an irrevocable trust because you can't just say, "Oh, I was just kidding."
Yeah.
There's no just kidding with an irrevocable.
That's what scares me.
It's final. It is scary. It's scary, but sometimes good. So really important planning. So I guess, Rob, one of the things that people think when they're thinking about a wealth manager, like a Security Financial Management, they think we just handle the money. But a real certified financial planner or wealth manager looks at everything from your portfolio. But I can't tell you how many people I talk on a regular day, on any given day, regarding their real estate. We don't manage their real estate, but we'll advise on it with them. Their taxes, even though we're not your tax preparer. And many of the topics I'm talking about right here, you probably need good legal counsel, a good tax preparer, talk to your tax accountant. If you don't have it, we have teammates that we use. They may not work with us, but they work. It's kind of like a general contractor. He might be the guy that's building your house, but he has a bunch of subcontractors that are loyal to him. We have our subcontractors. If they're not in-house with us, we've got our lawyers that we work every day with. We've got our accountants that we work every day with. If you don't have one, we'll introduce you to ours, or we will work with yours. But a good advisor not only talks about your investments, but talks about everything in your life that's financial. And one of the biggest assets that you have is your home and your real estate. So we want to make sure that you title it appropriately, you transition it to the next generation appropriately, from an income tax strategy, from a probate strategy, and also avoiding conflict within your children or your beneficiaries.
It's a lot of moving pieces.
It's a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving pieces.
A lot of moving parts.
So in the first column there, it says probate avoidance. What exactly is probate, and what do you mean by probate?
Yeah, in our world, sometimes we talk in terms and we don't realize that's Chinese. No, or German.
German,
We don't distinguish the difference there. But anyway, probate now.
Language.
Probate means proving your will. Okay. So if somebody doesn't have a will, everything's going to go through probate. And probate is just the court approving all the where everything's going to go. Okay. If you have a will, it with the exception of certain assets, like things that have beneficiaries, like IRAs, everything goes around your will. But if something is in your will, it's going to go through probate unless it's your residence, your primary residence. And what probate means is that the court gets involved, makes a determination, and probate can have an expense. There's an expense on it. There's court costs and attorney's fees. Attorneys can charge basically up to 3% of a person's estate for probate. So if somebody has $1 million that's gone through probate, your family might pay an additional $30,000 to an attorney. You want to avoid that. Okay. And the way to avoid it is to have things titled appropriately, held in a revocable trust. The Ladybird deeds and all those can avoid probate. But if you don't do anything, it's going to go through probate. That's attorney's fees and court costs. So that's what probate is. And probate is the real term is proving the will. So those are things, if any of you out there are a client of ours or not a client of ours, we have advisors here at Security Financial Management that can guide you in those strategies as well.
Well, beautiful, Dave. That I didn't have much to say today. I don't, this is a little over my head.
It's all right.
So if you want to talk to Dave or any of our certified financial planners here at Security Financial Management, we're going to leave a link for you right here. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Remember, folks, the secret to wealth is not what you earn. It's what you keep. Happy days, everybody.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only and is not intended as personal financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please do your own research and consult a financial advisor as needed.